Tahm Kench is always going to give you exactly, well, what Tahm Kench does at level 1. Folks, into pick ban once again. Lyric already mentioned, same sides here for both BLG and WE. Remember that we are in WE's home arena of Xi'an, so if this does go to a game 3, we will be on a delay for Top Esports versus RNG.
That's spicy.
That's super spicy. Just a run back after Zeka dominated them on this pick in game 1.
I mean, you literally took both their champions, right? Like, they first picked Lee Sin, they 2-3'd Volibear and LeBlanc, and they said, hey, we like what you had going on for you. We are going to pick this up this time around. The Volibear still flex, can go towards the top lane, but maybe Breathe wanting to have more impact in that jungle role like you were highlighting. So having this available, we're going to see how Shanks does on this pick. We hit on it many times. Every LPL fan knows Shanks very much show a control mage player. I think LeBlanc's playstyle is a bit different from a lot of mages to where you are able to weave in and out, more so like a poke champion and have that bit of like control mage-like playstyle. So gonna be interesting to see how he adapts on this pick. And Zeka saying, hey, I know this matchup perfectly. I might have dominated you on the LeBlanc side of the matchup, but I'm a LeBlanc main. He probably knows both sides very well, and we're gonna see ppgod go back to the pick that really made him shine back in 2020 summer. It was all about the Thresh and the death sentences that he was able to find.
And now I want to see if WE look and say, hey, let's get something like the Affiliates, or we're gonna ban it away, either. Varus we know is a much stronger pick, so that's a natural for Elk. And again, Lyric, I want to see, did WE ban away the Affiliates and not give a strong 2v2 for Aiming and ppgod, who had a pretty strong laning phase despite being the center Tahm in game 1?
You would assume that's what would come out, right? Like, they show the Thresh, you would think ban Aphelios Jinx. We've already seen Aiming play Jinx twice this split, so it's a pick that WE know that he is comfortable on, to where, ooh, actually expecting them to go for the aggressive bot lane duo. This is something we've seen, of course, come a lot more back to prominence lately, especially I feel like in the LEC, to where when I've tuned in, I've seen a bunch of Kalista coming out, but their comp does signal diving in onto what WE's drafted so far. I'm more curious to see where BLG goes with the bans. Gonna take away the set. I thought maybe taking away supports, but instead wanting to take away the set from either Breathe. Okay, I guess it would be from Breathe, right? Shanks already having a LeBlanc locked in.
It makes sense, right? I think I do like the WE bans, though. Overall, strong 2v2, kind of denied here from BLG alongside that Thresh. Makes me wonder if Aiming's going to be on an 80 carry that he's fond of at all. You said in game 1, he's going to have to experiment and go on something that he hasn't really played much. The center only 1 game, Cogmore 1 game, Jinx on 2.
Does it the Jinx the 2 games?
Kai'Sa also there, but what do you think about it into a Varus, even if you have the Thresh?
I don't think I'd really like it. I expect him to default back to the Jinx pick. For WE, if you can assume that, you know, maybe getting some more tanky members coming out, that could be a reason you ban the set as well, right? Because for something like Jinx, it's all about having squishy members to get the resets off of to really enable your team fight. But now we're going to look where WE goes. I'd assume with support right now, you can hold on to that top and jungle flex for later on. They are going to go straight towards the Leona. Now for BLG, it's about, hey, do you want to bring out that Jinx pick? And then where do you want to go with your jungle matchup? Because when Xin Zhao's banned, Nocturne, Rumble, there's so many things off the table. It's like, sure, we can see the Lee Sin come out, but I wouldn't expect it all too likely. WeiWei has played it once this split. The Diana's still being open if you want to try and be the one to bring out that combo, but again, then you're lacking a lot of early power that we saw WE's composition struggle with the last time around.
I was going to say, if you want early power, Nidalee's definitely there if you want to snowball the game, but instead, we have quite a lot of scaling here, Lyric. Gwen, Jinx, Sylas even as well, if he's able to get the momentum. So it feels like BLG want to play these fights once again and look for those 5v5s when we have ourselves a Gwen and a Jinx who can carry through.
And the thing is, right, you already had an AP soul laner, so them wanting to put Lee Sin in the jungle and get another AP soul laner, I think makes sense. They do have Lee Sin to try to bridge that early game strength to maybe look for some ganks and go for some 2v2s. Really interesting that we get to see Breathe pulling out the Lucian. I don't think this is a matchup that we've seen yet in the LPL, although I could be wrong because we have so many games of LPL. We've already 37 Gwen games played, so gonna be cool to see this one. Right now showing Sylas top and Gwen mid. Not quite sure. Gonna be interesting to see where BLG decide to land at the last moment, but yeah, seems like WE's big takeaway that game was, hey, we need way more power in the early game. They definitely drafted that. They tried to get some lanes that can guarantee prio. They got an early game ganking and skirmishing jungle. They're the ones who could try and get prio through sides early on this time around before Gwen and Sylas could come online and try to outscale them. And we're going to see if WE can push that snowball forward.
And let's say tempo on the other foot's always exciting when you change away drafts, right? You get the LeBlanc, you take it away early in front of Zeka. We've swapped mid lane matchups, and we've even got a spicy top lane matchup to boot. Lyric, further on to what you were saying, it's only been Nuguri who's played the Lucian top side and Ale for 1 game. So 3 games total. This is game number 4. First game for Breathe here in the split. And you said it so perfectly, right? Get those solo lanes into a decent position, into a snowballing position, I'd even dare to say, so that WE can push tempo and get this early game done and dusted so that they can push it to a game 3, because otherwise, scaling on this team for BLG looks mighty fine. And BLG after game number 1, you'd say they look mighty fine as well. We're in Xi'an, folks. It's WE's home arena. But they did change home arenas, Lyric. I'm not sure if they still have 600 capacity. That's what it was before, at least before COVID. All I know is we have a live crowd, and that's something very rare to speak of it these days. Welcome back to Summoner's Rift. It's a funny place to start. Lyric and I have had a great time so far. It's been like, what, 5 years? I love this
red theme.
It's cool, isn't it? I don't know what's going on in Xi'an. I do not know what's going on in the stadium, but everything at the moment is nice and red.
And, you know, kind of starting off with what I'm interested in on the Rift is definitely top lane matchup, right? Because I did check, and like you said, we've only had 3 Lucian picks in top lane so far this split. We have not seen Gwen versus Lucian come out. You would expect that Lucian should have prio early on. Gwen's hollowed miss cooldown level 1 is something like 21 or 22 seconds off the top of my head. So you're going to have a lot of windows to play around where she doesn't have that up where you can abuse with your range advantage and look for that. We know BiuBiu will scale into the matchup, and if he can ever find his way onto Breathe, he should be able to win out. You don't really have a great way of locking someone down, and Lucian does have that dash to try to get away from your skip and slash. So, yeah, I think this one's going to be very interesting in topside and seeing who can like mechanically play it better, and if there's a way for BiuBiu to find windows to find solo kills in this matchup.
And I think that's why it's important to note that we do have a flash on the Gwen, which is rarely ever seen in the LPL. You know, that range matchup you talk about and how volatile it can be, well, that gives another tool to either chase down or give you an extra room for error, right?
I've only seen it done consistently in the Jace matchup so far, so probably thinking of this in the same vein of like something that can bully her out decently aggressively early on. We know her level 1's still strong, so was able to go with a trade onto Breathe, you know, Eing in range, getting the increased range, the bonus damage and attack speed, all the whole shebang, but not going to matter too much. We are going to see both junglers path towards their top sides. WE soul lanes will both have early prio, so it should be an easy scuttle crab for Beishang. I wonder if WeiWei will want to try and look for some kind of gank to try and get pressure to one of his lanes so we can start looking for somewhere where he can potentially take a scuttle crab or find advantages.
Because I think it's important to note that in a lot of BLG's lanes, while they may be losing priority, especially mid and bot, there is a lot of follow-up CC. If you can get a pick, you get locked down. The early damage from Lucian is a lot to add on top. So I do like that BLG aren't stock out of options here in this early game, but you already see WE's lanes pushing in and watching WeiWei towards those solo lanes for now. It gives us a bit of an inkling. There's the flay onto Leona. Pretty classic stuff here as Death Sentence is missed. And bottom lane will continue being a farm fest for now. You talked about junglers before, Lyric. I'm going to take us back up there. Forget bot for the time being. I know we're looking there, but a scuttle on top side here for Beishang feels pretty easy. We're going to see if he wants to push it further.
Yeah, I like this coming up for Beishang. Looking for the invade, has to push in his lanes. Feels good in that 1v1 duel.
Sky Splitter as well. Remember, that's so much damage, and yeah, WeiWei's out. So Beishang takes that. There's the Scuttle Crab as well, and anything else. Remember that Wolves are still there and should actually be spotted out with that little Scrying Bloom, while bot, never mind, not a farm fest, ppgod's dead! WE flash forward for first blood, return the favor from game number 1.
You know, when we saw the earlier exchange in bot lane, I was getting nervous whenever missing Zenith Blade in because of what we saw in game 1. But this time around, they're the ones to pick up the 2v2 kill in the bottom side. Just clearly finding a nice engaged coming out. And this even just means so much more for the rest of the map as well, right? If Beishang wanted to run straight down, he can just go for bot scuttle right now. But we're going to go straight into the replay. Just nice flash, had the aftershock on as well, so missing wasn't taking too much damage this whole time. Elk even following up with his own flash to get that guaranteed damage down. We aren't going to see any plays towards the bot side scuttle for the side of Beishang. Instead, just wanting to keep his camp cycling smoothly and going for both of his top side camps. So at least WeiWei getting a bit of a reprieve in that area. But this time around, we are seeing Shanks do just about the same of what Zeka did to him in the early laning phase.
I think even better, right? I mean, Zeka had about a 8-10 CS lead at the moment, even with this big wave crashing.
Should even out after this wave, though.
Okay, well, let's see if Zeka can get it, though. I mean,
oh, never mind. He's missing a lot.
Well, walking up to the wave, Shanks is just autoing him, and, well, it is still roughly around 10, 12 as top lane. There's a gank. Beishang's going to jump on BiuBiu right inside the Hallowing Mist. Doesn't matter. Double shot. Breathe with an order. He flashes in, and it's Beishang who picks up the kill with the red buff.
And even Beishang holding the turret aggro at the last second to make sure the Breed doesn't go down to the turret. So WE, you know, having the right adjustments, just literally stealing BLG's idea, you know, that meme of like, this is yours, this is mine, or like copying someone's homework is exactly what WE did this time around. And I mean, maybe that's just the level these teams are at, right? Because we talked about in game one, just snowballing and like macro and making decisions is much easier when you have an early lead. It's much easier to know what to do when your lanes push and like, hey, I can invade the enemy jungle, I can contest these buffs, I can get deep wards, we can get first move to start dragon or force fights. Like there's so many more options you have. And yeah, I feel like with teams of this caliber where we've seen both of them struggle, especially in terms of decision making, for BLG it's been more so in the mid game. For WE it's pretty much been all over. We've seen them struggle like fighting for scuttle crabs. We've seen them go on Rift Herald too early and get punished. But yeah, it seems like drafting strong lanes is the way forward in this series.
Yeah, it definitely is. And for WE and BLG, I think realizing how strong snowballing is right now in the current meta, right? We talk about how strong items are, maybe a conversation for after this, because TP coming down, WE want to double down onto aiming. Beishang will force his cleanse away as Shanks looking for a further dive. ppgod, meanwhile, trying to juggle around, but missing's held turret aggro. Elk gets the kill. Even on the backline aiming dies the Shanks. Lyric, it's the reverse in game number 2 completely.
And now we get to see if BLG can answer right. When you see a team make a dive on one side of the map, you always instinctively go for a dive on the opposite side. Zeka already here around the corner. WeiWei's making his way up. Breathe has no flash. You would assume he should be done for, but
Culling clears the wave. Oh no, BiuBiu under turret. Gets ignited down. Zeka only just out. A good attempt. We put NT into the chat. And BLG will at least get a response. See if they can push the turret any further.
You know, I'm starting to feel like maybe we jinxed it coming out of game 1, right? We said, hey, we have series in 2 different stadiums today, but after BLG's decisive win, maybe we get to stay on schedule. WE definitely wanting to pick up a win in their home arena and catch some momentum back after going on that 2-series lose streak, so WE in a really good position right now. You do have the red buff up on the side of BLG and blue buff where Beishang is going to come up quite soon. Beishang just going to go for a back, though, probably going to head towards his bottom side jungle is what you'd assume, but really curious to see what WeiWei decides to do, right? You brought the Lucian into the jungle. You have these AP soul lanes. We talked about some of the options that he has available. Zeka has pretty much just gotten consistently pushed in, so very hard to find a gank there, especially on a LeBlanc, right, with that distortion, being level 6, having the ultimate available to mimic that as well, and having all that mobility. Even the fact that W are using the pressure to just choke out BLG on the bottom side of the map right now with vision control. Shanks moving over, getting that ward down, and they'll be able to spot WeiWei out if he makes his way over to his Raptors.
That's why for someone like WeiWei, we're going to have to watch his pathing even closer and see how he can respond to the pressure that Beishang's putting down. You mentioned how bottom side was a bit of the focus here for WE. I also want to pull out that the vision control down bottom side river is exponential right now. Control wards line through, Scuttle Crab there as well. It's every single move that BLG make towards that bottom side as a response that will be tracked. And without teleports on solo landers as well, I mean, the world is WE's oyster right now. They've got a 2-0 Varus who probably doesn't even need the jungler at this point because the poke is going to be too hard to deal with if you're someone like Aiming. Dark Passage used defensively, and look at where Aiming is on the map. All the way behind his turret while Missing gets to roam.
And, right, I mean, Elk, Caulfield's Warhammer, Serrated Dirk, only against a pickaxe. He can push that one in. He's going to move up. As Elk, I don't even think you necessarily need to completely commit unless BLG go in, which they're looking for the fight.
Sonic Wave down, but the relentless pursuit was beautiful from Breathe. They thought up, he went down. I exposed here for the Herald. And, yep, can you steal it? No, Shanks! What a head. That's great. WE are going to find the Herald and no trouble whatsoever. Missing even doesn't lose anything in the bot side as even Elk started to move up.
Yeah, we're going to see Elk did move to mid, was getting some CS there, so it's going to even out, you know, the maybe 1-2 CS he misses down on the bottom side with what he was able to pick up in mid, and Aiming not able to push that advantage further because BLG did decide to try to contest rather than maybe just getting plates onto Aiming down in the bottom side. Now WeiWei finally wanting to try to look for something, but Breathe Breathe smells it. Breathe knows something's in the air. He doesn't want to look for this. I mean, also just vision in general, thinking about it, right? W are doing such a good job of like moving their vision line, right? You highlighted it about a minute and a half ago of like, look at bot side river. They all move up. They get top side river littered with wards. Just anywhere they're trying to control zones, they're doing incredibly well and making sure they know what BLG is wanting to do.
I mean, I love it, right? Like WE, brand new team with life in them. I was mentioning before how, you know, snowballing a game always feels great when you get these early leads in the current meta, how strong mythics are, how strong items are in general, and what teams can do with the current champion pool that's available, like Lucian, Volibear, Varus, you know, Lucian, especially on the team of WE. We look at champions that when they snowball ahead, it becomes so hard to catch up to them. And Lyric, when we get that first mythic item on Elf, that will be soon, it'll be even hard to challenge things like the Dragon. You know, even Shanks here on the LeBlanc who has an early kill, the same deal.
It's going to come up soon, right? Because it looks like they're posturing to drop Rift Herald down towards the bottom lane, so going to give him all that plating gold. WeiWei is waiting in the wings, though, but look at the minimap. Shanks is already moving first. Shanks is already almost here. Zeka does have TP available if he wanted to answer, but still, it seems like the threat of knowing that WeiWei could be around and those TPs could come out is going to push Beishang away from bottom lane. Maybe look for a gank in mid, try to blow summoners from Zeka, but nothing going to happen. BLG doing a very nice job of being defensive right now and just forcing Beishang from not being able to capitalize on the pryos that he has.
But he still has that Herald you mentioned, and he's just been zoned down to the bottom wave. Skysplitter comes on in, and Beishang's still holding on. Just waiting for that Herald placement. Still got plenty of time, folks, so he can shift gears to another lane, as that's a great death sentence from ppgod, but they don't want to fully commit, aiming almost at half health, and they still don't trust where Beishang is on the map. Running into each other, Zeka going to be walking over a ward. Level 9 versus level 7, but Zeka still not going to contest.
No, and Dragon's up in 30 seconds, so we don't really see plays anymore where teams like drop Herald that much to force a team into mid per se, and then use that to get tempo to go into Dragon. So I wonder if that's something that Beishang will look for. Shanks is actually getting taken incredibly low.
Beishang hasn't done a camp for a while. He's just shifting gears between lanes as has to cover for Shanks for now. Zeka going in. Skysplitter down once more as WeiWei misses the Sonic Wave. 2v2 in the mid lane for now, just to clear waves, give a bit more priority, and help clear vision towards the sides of the river. And I like that WeiWei's coming in here, making sure that, you know, if Beishang's spotted, that WeiWei's going to do the exact same thing.
Yeah, the big thing there is I think Shanks was looking for the heavy trade onto Zeka because he knew Beishang was coming first, trying to set up for that gank below the cooldowns, like get rid of the Abscond Abduct, won't have a dash, try and force him to at least flash, if not outright find the kill.
Okay, return here for Shanks. He'll get the binding. Beishang's back in. Kicked away immediately, but Stormbringer available. Didn't want to go for it. WeiWei still has his flash available. Super Mega Death Rocket, is it going to land? Oh, it's so close.
Ooh.
Just a little bit to the left.
Very close on the side of aiming. Not able to hit it. It's been really interesting past 4 minutes, right? Because we've had this like sequence of like juggling back and forth between mid and bot, especially with Beishang and WeiWei. Beishang trying to find a place where he can make plays. If he hovers around bot, he didn't even need to drop the Herald, right? It just gives Elk and Missing more freedom to hit turret freely, as it looks like they should be able to pick a bot lane turret right now by themselves. This allowed, through all the pressure, to just drop it mid, get some plates onto Shanks, but maybe they can finally find a gank. He does have flash available, though, so
Shanks didn't
not
get any
even
plating.
going to need to use it.
Had to back away. Zeka pushed him off the turret, so plating only goes over to Beishang with the later Herald. But that pressure does mean they get the second Dragon of the game, right? We have another Mountain Soul coming through, but this time WE, 2 Dragons in the lead with 0 over to BLG. WE even having a huge gold lead on top of that. It's been brewing for a while, Lyric, but 4,000 gold at 13 minutes. It may not be as explosive BLG's game 1, but it certainly looks controlled from WE, not giving it an inch for BLG to claw back some of the disadvantage.
That's the thing, right? It's not as explosive, but it's actually the same gold lead, if not, you know, slightly more. I think it is about the same 4K around 13 minutes, because we were joking about 5K at 16, so W doing a nice job of keeping things going. We already see 2 mythics coming out for them. We see Gale Force onto Breathe, Prowler's Claw onto Elk, as well as WeiWei getting his Gore Drinker. So actually just a bunch of mythics coming out on both sides as the recalls do come out. Herald's about to be up though, so that's why we're starting to see bot lanes transition towards the top half of the map. With how far pushed out the bottom lane is for WE, Breathe doesn't even necessarily need to go there, can just make his way towards mid and look for that skirmish on top side. So With BiuBiu heading mid, I would expect that it looks like BLG potentially want to contest this one. They don't want to give it over for free, but it does look like BiuBiu now going to start heading down towards that bottom side.
Okay, let's see. Teleport being used in the mid lane for Zeka. BiuBiu, remember, still having his own. I think it's important to note items here if we're talking about contesting though, Lyric, because only 2 mythics here, and Zeka is not one of them on the Sylas with Everfrost. But we have 3 mythics on for WE. I think it's also important to know that Shanks is probably ready to get his as soon as he backs away. Has an Oblivion Orb for the Sylas, so not sure if I'm right about that one. But for WE, full vision control once again up towards the top side. The shift in vision that you mentioned earlier is spot on once more.
Yeah, and so they're going to be able to start this one right away. We do see BLG's bot lane moving over, and BiuBiu will be able to move first. Breathe does have TP, though.
Solar Flare misses there. That's a big tool. Do BLG want to continue to go in? Look at where Zeka is, and the TP in the backline, the ward that wasn't cleared. Sonic Wave from WeiWei to get in. Super Mega Death Rocket, and the Sonic Wave not taken. Breathe has teleported in as a 5 versus 5, but aiming is nowhere near the river. Trying to steal it away, it's not. It's over to Beishang, but the chains of corruption are going to spread like wildfire as BiuBiu denies the damage, but WE's engage has ended there. We only have the Stormbringer from Beishang as Zeka's going to kite around. He's stolen a Stormbringer of his own. He needs to get into the backline though. BLG still 5-man strong, denying the eye, so it's only going to be the 100 gold. Zeka says, haha, walks over it, and at least they can deny them that.
Yeah, seems like Zeka having the volley ultimate as well as ppgod holding onto the box dissuaded WE from wanting to go in. W's members are also very squishy, let's remember, right? You have LeBlanc in mid lane, Lucian in top, so culling already used, not able to get that damage down. BiuBiu waiting for his cooldown to come up. Once Hollowed Mist would come back up, it would once again be extremely hard for WE to find a way into that space. So in the end, no team really gaining an advantage. Both teams kind of in the same place, right? No wave got crashed into a turret on the side wave either, so not too much coming out from that one. Now we're going to see probably WE default back to having that 1-3-1 setup. It's exactly what BLG want to have as well, though, so yep. You're not too sad about that one for BLG. I think we're just waiting for both BiuBiu and Zeka to pick up their first items to where they can really start contesting in these 1v1s.
Prowler's Claw, man. Still 11.12, folks, so always nice to see. I do appreciate the change that came to using it on minions. It was annoying when you could only use it on champions, and it felt like the worst lethality item, but Elk utilizing it there, you can see, gets the gap closed, aiming has to cleanse away. And 4 people mid here for WE, trying to get this turret down, open up the map even more. You talked about side waves here, breaking down mid and expanding that vision line. For WE, the priority's there, and with the Solar Flare down, they want ppgod as well. He flashes away, he's destroyed with a quick arrow, and Elk picking up another kill. Shanks, if he was here, would have made it a double, as he's still towards that position, WeiWei over the wall. You know what's going to happen. He's looking for his prey. He gets vision. He flashes a bit too deep, as WeiWei now with the Sonic Wave kicks him over. Hello to Zeka. Super Mega Death Rocket, BLG, with a good punish for the ambitious LeBlanc.
Yeah, really nice angle coming out from WeiWei to know that, kicking him into Zeka and being able to pick up that kill. Still, overall, the map win goes to WE, right? They pick up mid-turret. They saw BiuBiu down pushing in bottom lane. They know he doesn't have TP from that prior skirmish at Herald, and they just opt into that one. Dragon coming up in 20 seconds, though. Yep. All of WE are looking for recalls, so BLG are actually the ones with tempo on the map, but WE are the ones who have vision. Literally everywhere. Everywhere on the map right now, WE can see what's going on. So BLG going to push out waves, try and clear out some of that vision, get their own vision down. I think it should give WE enough time to get back on the map and look for a contest, but maybe I'm wrong.
Teleport available for Shanks, but how quickly can BLG do this? Aiming still does quite a bit of damage here in this early game, as Zeka has stolen away the Chains of Corruption, already used to slow them down. They need this Dragon to slow tempo, and they've got it. Over to WeiWei, as he might have to sacrifice his life. He's dead in an instant, and ppgod just wants to slow them down even further. Lyric, that's the cost of the Dragon, and it should just end there as Shanks is on the chase, but will not have the gap closed. Lyric, I think that's a smaller win, right? When we talked about BLG's composition and the scaling, you've slowed down the Dragon that's going to force you into a bad position and give you a bit more time to pick up your items.
Yeah, I definitely think BLG are the clear winners in that exchange, right? Because W not even in a position to take an objective anywhere else on the map, as we're going to get a replay. Goes in. Nice flash coming out from the Jinx. WeiWei using the Sonic Wave to get there. Goes for the kick. Everfrost E combo. Even the Jinx rocket. So really a team effort coming out from BLG to take down Shanks.
So, As we come back on the map, I want you to walk me through the next couple of minutes and what they look like, because WE still have a big gold lead and we can't underestimate what that does for this team. But we are hitting that 2-item territory for people like Breathe on the Lucian, for Shanks as well. And when I say hitting that territory, I mean getting close. We are already at 2-item territory for Elk with an Executioner's Calling, so he's really fed. How do you push this further now that mid's down, now that you've been trying to abuse your vision and get BLG caught out in their own jungle?
You want to do something similar to what BLG were doing last game round, right? You're pushing out top wave, you're grouping up mid, walking into the enemy jungle, putting your deep wards down as it looks like WE are about to do, and like utilize your power spikes now. Try to find those picks, Chains of Corruption hits.
All right, that's a couple of tools down. The chains as well. WeiWei going back in, trying to give space over to Zeka. The Lee Sin dying, transferring over the blue buff and WE. Well, Lyric, I guess it's easier than saying it. They're just going to show you.
I was going to say, you didn't even need to ask me. WE knew exactly what they were doing coming out on the map. They're should be able to pick up this top lane turret relatively soon, as we see BLG controlling mid.
Good control ward put down,
We might
dodges
actually
away
have
from
an
the chain.
engage here.
The Chomper's down as well. Remember, Chains of Corruption already been used. BiuBiu caught under the turret by himself. Elk's damage is massive, not to be underestimated. While Breathe in the top side, while that's going on, BLG weren't able to pick up a turret, but Breathe is just a menace on this Lucian solo.
Yeah, and I also like Beishang, right? Hovering around, he never committed too much to mid lane. You know, like, hey, I'm just going to hang out around top side. If Zeka overcommits, we'll get the kill. If not, Breathe has the safety to take this turret down. Resets are going to start coming out now. And then, you know, Dragon's still a long ways away, so Baron is still up. I think keeping vision towards the top side right now is the name of the game for the side of WE. So we're going to get a replay. Chains of Corruption did hit, it looked like, and Shank's able to follow in and hit the chain right off the bat. And yeah, I mean, WeiWei just instantly gone.
That was spotted out with lens on blue buff, and Elk was just like, right, they're in front of blue, I'm shooting it here. Because apart from that, there wasn't direct vision, so I just liked the go trigger from the bottom lane of WE to pick up his 5th kill of the game. And yeah, Elk is giga busted right now. He's going to have his 3rd item very, very shortly, and we know what Varus does against a comp that doesn't really have a true frontline. There ain't no Malphite, no Scion here, not even a Volibear, right? We have bruisers, but they're not going to be able to deal with this early access to damage that Elk has been given through all these picks.
We also need to remember there's one big difference about WE's comp compared to BLG's last game, is that you have the Varus Leona coming out. So if they do just want to start Baron, their turret potential is way higher. It's way stronger. They can just wait for BLG to come in, look for that engage, and find the decisive team fight.
I like that you pull that up, because last game you were spot on the money that it was not really straightforward engage from BLG, but the Baron turns would have to come through, but there was no way to force WE to stay in one position and just take them down. This time around, we watch for the Chains of Corruption and the Solar Flare as Baron's been started 22 minutes in. And look at where BLG are on the map. They're trying to force out the teleports, but BLG is scattered to the wind right now.
Yeah, they are going to come in. Gwen does have TP, so I don't know if WE want to commit to this, trying to find the turn.
Chains of Corruption misses. That's one tool down, but you also mentioned missing with the Solar Flare. BiuBiu walking into the fight. He's level 13. But still a little bit behind compared to Breathe. Shanks over the wall looking for a flank, but BLG have pulled them off of the Baron, but that's the cost of one of their teleports of BiuBiu as they're going in. WeiWei, kick on the backline, but Absconded Duck doesn't land. Zeke with the stolen ulti and manages to get the trade as he flashes back in. WE, though, still have quite a lot of damage as ppgod won't help with the Dark Passage. BiuBiu now cornered away as well, but it is a Gwen on top of missing. He flashes away, now needs help of aiming. It's double flash in from Beishang, who's exhausted but triumphed up. AoE damage from the Jinx and the choke's fantastic, but that's not the real Shanks. And WE, even though it's a slimmer of health in the end, BLG lose so much.
You know, the play from WeiWei looked really cool. Looked sick, you know, looked like had some awesome mechanics going on, but he ended up going so far away from his team, and it's like, sure, you guys were able to take down Elk in the end, but you also left your backline just by themselves, able to easily get chunked out. Then they're not able to follow up on the fight, and the rest of WE can just turn and take that kill. So WE gonna be able to pick up this 3rd Drake. I'm a little bit surprised that that skirmish broke out. I can see why BLG would want to look for it, but for WE, they would probably even fine if nothing happened and could just look for the same Baron bait again with no TP on Gwen. But we're gonna see here, WeiWei goes in. Flash into the kick. Zeka following up, isn't able to hit the Absconded Duck, but still, look how far those members had to go, and look how much damage that Breathe is doing on the opposite side. So ppgod and aiming already forced out of the fight. So instantly a numbers advantage for the side of WE with how far your divers committed to kill Elk.
Nice relentless pursuit over the zap from Breathe. Felt like that could have opened up an opportunity for aiming to just target him down, but WE win another fight here. A 4,000 gold lead at 24 minutes in. They picked up Dragon while we're in the replay as well, Lyrics, so they will have Soul in 4 minutes to fight over, and that's something that BLG do not want to give over if they want to scale into this game. And sure, they still have scaling, but for WE, it would just be one of those objectives to put the nail on the head, in the coffin. Either way, nail into something quite gory for this second game where WE are taking over and asserting control. And Lyric, they can just go back to the Baron, clear away some of the vision, and BLG have to go and check.
Yeah, still, we did see BLG adapt their lane allocation, right? They moved Zeka down to the bot lane because BiuBiu does not have TP, so
True.
There still will be a response if something happens. For WE, they're fine with this happening, though, right? Just take away enemy jungle camps, keep vision down. You know BLG probably won't walk into their own jungle. They literally just did this exact same strategy last time around, so they know what WE is looking for. I feel like for WE, with the lack of openings BLG are giving them, I would expect to see them come out with just a Baron bait force, unless they do just want to wait that 320 and just guarantee themselves the soul.
What's happening in the mid lane? I mean, they've brought the Jinx away. They can see that WeiWei's here as well. A lot of pings were going down. WE looking to contest.
Beishang and Shanks.
And Beishang on top, that's WeiWei. Sonic Wave at the ready, but no, look at where Zeka is as well. Good kick for the disengage. Shanks jumps back in, but has to flash away. He's already killed ppgod. Breather's teleported in as well, and BiuBiu now looking for the needlework while the rest of the fight not going too red hot. Breather's joined on in the fray. Zeke with the stolen ulti does so much damage. That Stormbringer AP scaling was nutty. Into the back, WE have actually lost half of the fight. Sonic Wave on top of Shanks. He wants it, but no Lee Syndrome in this play. Shanks as well coming back in for a bit of damage, and even though it's a 2-for-1 in favor of WE, that could have been so much worse after Zeka's ulti.
Yeah, and we saw, right, once Beishang goes down and missing solo, they really can't walk forward. You're walking into a few bruisers on the side of BLG. You're walking into someone like Gwen. Hollow Mist comes out. Maybe BLG can turn around that fight and take it with who's left over. So I like that W was conscious of yo, our tanks are down. Our tanks are gone. We cannot take this fight anymore. And they do just default back to the side waves. And like you said, Zeka finding a really nice ultimate after taking away Beishang. So action gonna stall, 2 minutes until Drake. And now I feel like we're gonna see a rinse and repeat of that topside vision coming out from the side of WE.
Right, so rinse and repeat means again, Baron threat there. We'll have a look at the replay because Shanks on the flank and ppgod just caught the front line.
Yeah, and Shanks' nice shot going back in, has to instantly flash out. Breathes teleport, a bit awkward, right? He's stuck in a weird place, does Ian and Gale Force, instantly has to get out of there as well, but there's that ultimate that you were highlighting, and the needlework coming out from BiuBiu as well. Like, the combination of all that AoE was just so strong. The Jinx rocket was something you hit on, and this is where W realized, hey, we're all squishy, we really don't want to look for this fight. They back off, and everything's fine at the end of the day. And
I think we still have to highlight that if one more thing goes wrong, that BLG scaling is something we still talked about, and the fact that the fights are not even but close to is something as WE you'd have to be scared of. It depends though on this Dragon though, Lyric, so maybe I'll hold my tongue for now. If this game does go a little bit longer, things do get worrisome. But BLG with the wave clear here, what's happening?
What?
What the hell? Aiming left on an island though, so they've sacrificed their AD carry who ppgod can't save in the end. He'll be rooted up as Zeka wants to carry the back of the fight. BiuBiu jumps on him, but he's in the middle of 4 members. BLG, I'm not sure if you can win this one. They need to buy time, which is what Zeka's doing. BiuBiu survives for so damn long. He's snipping! How does BiuBiu live? ppgod as well on a sliver of HP. Sonic Wave, Resonating Strike. Shanks goes back to the brush as ppgod knows exactly where that man is. Zeka over the wall. He'll abscond him. Duck Shanks playing with his chicken.
Oh, he finds it.
He gets it so close. Shanks still gets brownie points. But dude, how the hell did BLG win that fight?
I just want to know how it started. We instantly come into Breathe being dead. Breathe was killed by, I think it was Zeka and WeiWei. We're gonna see, they're just waiting in a brush. They're just waiting in a brush. But why would they be here is what Breathe is thinking.
Yes.
Goes down. It's like, sure, okay, you open up your bot lane to being targeted. But really, I think the big strength of BLG right now is their soul laners.
Yep.
And the thing about BLG's comp, it might look like they don't have tanks, but both Gwen and Sylas are so durable, have so much sustain in their kit. They both have Zhonya's at this point, so they can buy so much time, like you're saying. We're seeing the Qs coming out from BiuBiu, and then Zeka on the opposite end, right? Just able to deal so much damage. So really like this comp coming out from BLGs. I wonder if the observer will actually show us this whole outplay of, not really outplay, Shanks buying time, does find a way back in. It was pretty cool. It was pretty sick. Yeah. Still goes down in the end, but it felt like he was going to go down anyway, right? So at least you are able to pick up that last kill on ppgod, but...
And we're doing it again.
Ooh, more TPs.
We're doing it again. Caught out his WeiWei. That's Chains of Corruption used onto the jungler. We're going to fight again. Everyone loves the LPL as Fox comes on down. BLG support low, but that's everyone in the backline. Look at Zeka doing it once again as he's blown up at BiuBiu. Still another solo lane. You have to worry about his breathe. Is caught in the middle. BLG Lyric, they got 3 for the price of 1. They won another fight.
And we need to remember that WE's comp is all burst, right?
Yep.
Varus, LeBlanc, Lucian, all about the burst. When you have members like Gwen, who have so much durability, has the W coming out, have the sustain from your passive, like, there's so many ways for you to get past an initial burst. You have more sustain, you have more DPS, and I wonder if they can actually look for an end.
15 seconds on L, 10 on missing. Maybe not the safest play, even with Shanks and Beishang there. Lyric, gold in their favor too after those couple of plays. I never knew BLG stood for Big Lad Gaming, because this is a comeback that, you know, we talked about scaling, but BLG with these long fights have done a number on WE.
Yeah, and we're going to see WE were the ones to start this off, right? The Solar Flare pretty much missing, but it's instantly going to be the engage coming out from the members of BLG. BiuBiu's damage is just so insane. He's doing so much, and with the Sylas jumping in as well, sure, he goes down, but you enabled the other members to buy time, a closed space, and be able to pick up those kills as well.
Well, here we are. 2 dragons picked up. In the replay, we saw that the second mountain was picked up, which again further delays the opportunity of WE getting a mountain soul. There's now a broken inhibitor in the mid lane as well. Baron still there, staring at the barrel of the camera shortly. As aiming's also towards 3.5 items. Infinity Edge here on the AD carry that has been abandoned in a couple of these fights, but I just love the thought process here. Is Shanks, it's going to be Sonic Wave and kicked away. But that is WeiWei's engage, or you could say tool down for his ulti for quite a while. As BiuBiu is walking in the brush, he'll get stunned down at half HP. BLG don't have to go too crazy here. They just got to make sure WE don't start the Baron, and they got to make sure they don't walk into a choke with a LeBlanc.
Yeah, I think for BLG, you want to see them do what they've been doing, right? These 5v5 fights where they're all pretty close together, and like you can fight in a formation. Looks like both teams are still posturing for it, though. Gwen does have TP. No, BiuBiu's TP hit, going for the big
right in front. Look at this. WE know, though. Full vision control. As they're moving towards the choke, BiuBiu and the Solar Flare on Zeka are the people you have to watch. Chain Chopper's down, close to getting Beishang. Solar Flare stolen and used onto Breeze. He's at half health. Super Mega Death Rocket doesn't connect. Sonic Wave onto the LeBlanc, though. Syndrome is a no. WE back away. They've been forced away, Lyric. And Baron here just needs to be cleared for wards so that BLG can potentially start it.
And the big thing is, right, they have inhibitor down in mid, so they have those minions pushing. So if they can play this patiently, I think this could be very good for them. We do see BiuBiu trying to zone off.
No one's still answering those minions in the around the wall. Chains of Corruption down. BiuBiu didn't have max stacks. I don't know what he's doing. ppgod gonna go down next. You surely think so. A Sonic Wave that hits this time. Stormbringer over the wall, aiming, lockdown, flashes away after a cleanse into the backline. WeiWei trying to bring it back. Stormbringer stolen by Zeka, but everyone's already dead. BLG, you had this in the palm of your hands, and you just thrown everything away.
That was the most confusing play that I've seen. The key word we used right before that play, right, was like patience. Look at WE's base right now. Super minions are hitting their Nexus turrets. Like you could have played that slower. Some key cooldowns weren't up, and WE just purely benefits off BiuBiu.
Oh my god, aiming?
I don't even know.
What? Okay, wanted to slow down Baron, I guess, but you still have another 80 carry.
Maybe, BiuBiu has some rivalry with Mole, where he's like, hey, if I run in right now and WE win, Mole won't become a starter again.
This team. I would be after the last couple of plays.
Like, this one is so much more confusing to me. Like they see them walking in, right? You look at the jungle, and BLG actually have vision of this. He was playing like a vision denial game behind that terrain, but it shouldn't matter. You know that they're all coming. They're not showing on their waves. No one is answering in mid. They get instantly taken down. WeiWei then trying to jump in. You're trying to combo all your damage together, but so many members are so low, right? Gwen's already dead. ppgod forced out of the fight. Aiming doesn't feel safe enough to walk up at this moment. It's like, sure, aiming's decision at the end was weird, but I mean, BiuBiu's BiuBiu literally took the game that was, I feel like, solidly in BLG's control at that point and just handed it right back to the side of WE.
I was going to say, further to Aiming's point where we saw him kill Elk and trade his own life, that's like me in solo queue. If I saw my top laner run into 5 people when we were bringing the game back, I'd be like, you know, forget this. I'm gonna bloody try. I'm sick of this top laner. So Aiming doing exactly what I would have done in this situation. BiuBiu over the wall. This is Mountain Soul for WE. Third one if BLG can snag it themselves. A 5 versus 5. It's been looking pretty good for BLG, but it depends how they play it. Chains of Corruption misses. That's one tool down. We again look for the Solar Flare.
And I feel like the big person we're looking at right now is Shanks, right? Because this is the way the comp got ahead in game 1 was the LeBlanc chunking people out before these full-on fights were able to happen. He has gotten some people, you know, like, he's done a bit of damage to BiuBiu, a little bit to Zeka, but not able to do too much. The sad thing for WE's, they're not able to utilize their Baron in a situation like this where you're contesting over Dragon. So BLG are playing it patiently. They still have the inhibitor broken down in mid for WE, so they know they don't need to rush this.
Zeka stolen LeBlanc ultimate here. Wait for the distortion with the abscond abduct. Easy to get on top of a target. As playing around with it is Shanks for now. Dragon is aggroed at 3.7k. BLG, 4-man group in front of it. Shanks and Zeka playing with each other on the side. Baron getting taken down. Sorry, Dragon coming through. It's secured. WE had themselves a Mountain Soul, but Beishang will sacrifice his life ball into the backline. Shanks doubles down. BLG losing members fast into GA. Away he goes. Aiming survives for now, but BiuBiu is stuck in the middle of 3 as it's Zhonya's into stopwatch. Flashes away. The death sentence from ppgod as well. The backline has done so well from BLG as it's 2 down and 3 to go. WE still have core damage members as ppgod misses this time. Zeta's Blade as well. WeiWei over the side. Sonic Wave needs to connect, but Shanks is back in. On top of Aiming, he gets it. WE are taking a 3v5 lyric. WeiWei's trying to clean it up himself, but he's run into certain death. A triple kill already. No quadra for you, but WE make those 3 people look like an army.
And I mean, right, W are the ones who get sold. WE now, once again, back to their 5k gold lead, but this feels absolutely crazy.
Kill him. Back. Zeka needs to fall as well. It's an ace. WE have Baron as well still up. Lyric, they can run it through mid.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Aiming's going to be up in 20 seconds. ppgod up in 10, but the other members are down too long. It feels like WE should be able to equalize the series. They don't exactly have that many minions, though.
Let's see. 10 seconds on the bottom lane. ppgod up in 3, but he's not going to be enough himself. No box available to slow down the wave. Inhibitor with a minion wave following up. ppgod, I'm not sure how you do it. Aiming's coming up in a moment, but Breathe is here. He's an 80 carry who can play through with a quick turret push. Aiming against the kite away. The Solar Flare misses though. BLG have them under the turret. Missing goes in deep. Box comes back up. BLG might be able to do this, Lyric. Aiming still alive. Looking for Beishang, but the Mountain Soul shield hasn't done enough. It hasn't. BiuBiu into the backline. Here comes the needlework. AoE with the Super Mega Death Rocket. Breathe and Shanks now versus Aiming.
Triple kill.
I mean, I'm surprised they're not actually just going for it. Zeka is back up, though. Zeka's full HP.
This is a Penta if he can get the distortion down. He's used the Sigil, I think. Zeka, the level 17 Sylas, along with Aiming and the rapid fire cannon, doing wonders into the backline. Shanks goes in. Breathe as well on top of Aiming.
Breathe.
He's got him, but now it's up to Zeka. We've seen Night Sylas do it, but can Breathe do it over the Nexus? He's rolling. He's rolling. Relentless pursuit. Double attack. No! It lives on, and BLG aced them clean.
And I have no idea what's going on right now in this game. WE looking like they can go for it. We see the angle coming out from Breathe, but Zeka's full HP. He is enough to save the situation, and now BLG live for another day. The big problem is now BLG enough to be careful of, you know, TPs or people like LeBlanc just trying to make their way through the jungle, get into your base, and just end the game. This game is going to be rough for BLG right now, but man, 38 minutes in, I feel like gold doesn't even really matter too much anymore at this point. Even the soul, I feel like, isn't too big of a deal. We're just getting into nitty gritty here, Hysterics, and yeah, WE a little bit overzealous. I think both me and you thought that they'd be able to end off that push, so I can understand why, you know, they'd go for it. But at the end of the day, Zeka is enough to hold things together.
Oh God, any which way this goes is going to be entertaining to finish us off. I want to point out after that near close ending as well that Breathe without his teleport available, Shanks as well, so they won't be able to make some cheeky play. And I love that BLG have lined their own jungle with control wards here. They've made it impossible for them to get past without them knowing. And that's what Shanks is trying to do. I love this from the LeBlanc over the wall. Now spotted out, take a different route. And we might just have to wait for the next Baron, for the next Elder, and see if that 5v5 decides the fate of this series.
I mean, right, that's so interesting. You knew once the base went down that way and WE's champions were so mobile that they'd look for this kind of play to get into the base.
Oh, BiuBiu.
Oh, wait,
Caught out by
BiuBiu?
Shanks. He's just walked in once again. BiuBiu, what the heck is going on? He's dead. 5 versus 4, Stormbringer in the backline. I think WE have just got it. And BiuBiu, I don't know what the heck he's doing this game, but I tell you what, he might be someone to blame.
Yeah, I know. WE are just going to keep pushing forward. I mean, this game is certainly over unless Zeka can pull off a night
Well,
right
you
here.
need a miracle. You need to carry this through. It's up to Zeka here. Scond ducked onto the back line. It's on to Elk here. Aiming free firing, but they're going for it. Breathe wants to finish it off. Ladies and gentlemen, he may not get the X-Pack game, but if he runs forward, he'll finish what he started to take us to a game 3.
Also unfair of me to put the Knight expectations on Zeka. Knight didn't have to face down 5 people who were full HP. It was completely different. But, man, this game is one of the games why we watch the LPL. Super back and forth, super messy, mistakes on both sides. There were definitely some good things, right? We saw good moments for BLG when they were playing out their team fights early on. WE getting that massive early game advantage, kind of showing us similar things to what BLG did in game 1. I feel like in the mid game where it kind of started to go a little bit south for WE is we didn't see them do the same thing that BLG did, right? You didn't keep pulling to Baron, at least trying to pull them into their own jungle and looking for LeBlanc to chunk over the wall, which almost gave the comeback, but didn't happen. WE were able to close it out, and guess what? We're probably not going to stay on schedule now. We got 3 games.
We're not. I was a little harsh to BiuBiu there, but I have to ask myself the question, and that is like, what we just witnessed, a couple of moments where BiuBiu's caught out. I mean, the 1 man into 5 up in that top side in front of Baron, that was, in a way, inexcusable. You knew they were all there, and you thought you could buy more time, but BLG had that game, a couple of moments thrown away, a couple of close calls, and WE almost throwing at the Nexus as well. Everything you want, you're right, in an LPL game. Everything you want in a League of Legends game. It was, let's put this in a nice way. It was shenanigans with the taste of skill mixed in. Right? We still had individual outplays coming through. We still had some big Zeka plays. We still had Shanks on his LeBlanc doing an absolute number. You know, you and I talked about this guy coming in on this assassin, on a champion that we know Mole would particularly play. Not always, but he can play. He really stood up, and our LeBlancs in this series so far have been great.
Yeah, WE definitely looking more united than they did with Mole, so just going back to that comfort of having Shanks on the roster definitely seems to help. I think calling it one series in is too early, right? We got to see a few more. BLG's a good litmus test for WE because they are supposed to be around, you know, a similar strength, a similar skill. BLG, in theory, is one of the teams you are competing for if you are trying to get a spot in the playoffs, and we're going to see Shanks, you know, doing work on this pick. Overall, though, I mean, it's so hard to talk about this game for WE though, right? Because everything started off so right, and then it felt like we had to get into like numerous hero plays at the end from different members for WE to actually be able to pull out the win. And we just saw twice of like BiuBiu getting caught out, and then numbers disadvantage for BLG. And the sad thing is, right, like it feels like that's been one of the trends for BLG is BiuBiu getting caught out later in the game, or ppgod getting caught out later in the game. I think ppgod this time around didn't have as bad of a run, but this is why BLG typically in mid and late game have had these issues.
I mean, it's a team that, you know, sometimes doesn't feel like they're on the same page. You know, BiuBiu's obviously the example for this game around. I feel like also, you know, there are a couple of fights where Zeka and WeiWei were doing their own thing, and the rest of the team kind of left to fend for themselves, which, to be fair, some of the fights worked out quite nicely. Lyric, I want to progress from that and kind of say that BLG have been, I think, a very interesting team within this series. We've seen a lot of clean play, and we've also seen a lot of innovation within both Game 1 and Game 2. WE, a lot of questions on my mind when we get to 40 minutes, we look at their comp and we say, if it snowballs and closes out early, and if it can utilize these side laners, fantastic. But we got to a point where it was about that pick potential. We saw LeBlanc, Volibear, the Leona as well, locking down one member, one target, and abusing the hell out of it. So I'm curious as to what happens in game number 3, because we are going to a game 3, folks. That's right, the second series will be delayed, but don't worry, here on the English broadcast, we will cover all of it, so you don't have to go anywhere else. My name's Hysterics, that's Lyric, and we will go to a break and see you in 5 minutes.